Traders. I'm going to show you what an A plus setup looks like in terms of order flow with two different examples, GMT and ETH. And here's me swimming with a whale shark as part of my marine touring job. But in trading, let's start with GMT. Both of these, though, after this chart snapshot was taken, there was a huge sell-off in each asset. And you could have just market entered, you could have limit entered. I'll talk a little bit about how I approached it and what happened, but we're talking order flow. So there's a filter to get a asset on my screen. One, ETH, I always look at ETH, but GMT took a old monthly high and closed the daily under it, and that is a filter that tells me, hey, there's maybe a short opportunity here. Not all of them look good for shorts, though. But what do we have? I'm going to explain everything, but we're on the 1 hour. This is about a little more than a week of price action, 2 weeks of price action. You can see that we've had a major run up. It's been sort of inefficient. There's been a couple big squeezes, and that price didn't reoffer. And we created at the high here, a new high, and failed to hold it also locally. So the first thing we have is the funding rate. We have the funding rate and the predicted funding rate. The actual funding rate runs up to 8 hours behind, so it's nice to have the predicted funding rate. The funding rate tells you the position of traders. It tells you if it's green, on volume, on average, there's more longs than shorts in the market. If red, there's more shorts than longs in the market. So you can see during this run up here, it's green the entire way. It was predicted to go red at one point, but it didn't. So essentially this entire move up, we know that the entire time there's been more longs than shorts, okay? The next thing that we're looking at is CVD. CVD is a measure of on the volume of candles that are red and candles are green. It gives you an idea of who's moving the market. Is it sellers that are moving the market, or is it buyers that are moving the market? A downward sloping line on CVD tells you that there's more and more selling pressure. An upward sloping line tells you there's more and more buying pressure. There's an extra thing, though, to consider, that a negative line where we are, it can be a declining buy pressure, not increasing sell pressure. It could be declining sell pressure, right? This line coming down could be increasing sell pressure, or it could be declining buy pressure, but either way, it's a trend. So we're interested in here is we have both. We have futures and we have spot. So spot is people buying the token, and futures are people playing with the leverage. So we see on the move up, the top one, we see the futures is going up, 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 up. So this top line of the CVD, futures are buying, futures are buying. So we know this agrees with this here, the funding saying funding is positive, while futures are coming in and buying and longing. What do we see on spot? Spot is flat and actually down. So as futures have been buying this thing up, pumping it with leverage, spot has been exiting and selling their bag. That is the downtrend. The last one that we look at here is aggregate open interest. This tells you how much leverage there is in the system. And we see, okay, it went from 20 million to 35 million, but you see this going up, up, up. Those are longs. So we know maybe there's $15 million of longs-ish added to this. So essentially, we take this all together. We have a chart pattern. Price failed at an old monthly high. You guys ask me, why are you selling alts at all-time highs? Well, when they look like this. Spot token holders have been unloading. Futures leverage longers have been getting longer and longer. There's more and more open interest. The funding rate is positive, more and more positive. What's going to happen, and on the chart we hit a major TP, is that price is going to start to unwind because these longs are going to have to close their positions. If price goes to the new high, they're going to TP. If price goes lower, they're going to get stopped out. If it goes even lower, they're going to get liquidated. So what happened here is GMT went into a severe downtrend after this for multiple days. I limit ordered and my limit didn't get filled, and I wasn't a part of this. In retrospect, I think it would have been fine to market enter or to try multiple times to limit order and to do this with a large size, because a lot of the time you get the charts and they don't look quite like this. This is A plus. Now, same thing with ETH. We're going to look at the difference with ETH here. One, we're on the 5 minute, so it's a different time frame, and also ETH did not hit a monthly high here, but it did have a nice rally up and hit sort of a key level. But we can see the same thing with the funding rate is getting more and more positive. You see how positive that funding rate is. We see CVD futures has been on this move up, a very steep line, lots of buying pressure coming in on futures, or at least a reduction in selling pressure. At the same time, what do we see is happening here? We see actually spot has been selling, an increased selling pressure or decreased buying pressure on spot, and we see open interest going up here from 7.2 billion to 7.8 billion. So an additional $600 million of longs positioned in this move up here, which tells us again what price hit on the chart. We see high volume at the top, we see hitting a local area, we see displacement occurring, we see fair value gaps forming, and we see price moving, starting to move down, and we see what's going to happen most likely is these $600 million of longs are going to get forced out of their positions. That's exactly what happened. We actually had immediately after this, over the weekend, almost a 10% decline over the weekend, which is a pretty heavy selling over a weekend. So this is what you want to look for. And again, I had the same issue where I set a limit order on ETH and it didn't fill, and I could have repositioned and tried again because it gave another opportunity, but I just tried the one time. My limit order did not fill. I didn't chase price and it dumped. And again, I don't really like market entering. I like being patient and waiting for limit entering. But when you see a chart where all these things line up, just charge in with a market entry, take a big position. Don't risk everything. But when funding rate has been getting increasingly positive, price is going up, hitting a key level, futures line, CVD is up, open interest is up, but spot is down on CVD. This is an A plus order flow setup. So again, this is me diving with the whale shark. And yeah, I hope you find that helpful and useful. Appreciate y'all, and let me know what y'all think in the comments. Peace.